street test manager for KTM North America, based in Murrieta, California. For those of you who don't know me, I grew up as an off-road racer in Southern California. I went on to win nearly every major long-distance off-road race in North America, including 4 wins at the Baja 1000 and a top 10 finish at the Dakar Rally. First off, I need to say I'm super bummed that I'm not there in Bosnia riding with you guys. And man, what a treat to be able to see the unveiling of the new KTM 790 Adventure R Rally. What an amazing bike. So you're probably thinking, why would KTM want to go further when the 790 Adventure R is already such an incredible bike? Well, the answer to that's simple, because we can. So during the development of the 790 Adventure, my philosophy was to go beyond the limits, to push further, because you don't know what the limit is until you've passed the limit. So when developing suspension, we went as far as we could, and then we backed it down. This really helped us to create the most capable off-road adventure ever produced. When you're developing a motorcycle, the product management team sets very clear targets in the beginning of the project. So you end up with specific targets for things like seat height, suspension travel, fuel capacity, cost, all kinds of different things. And for us, we do the best we can to fit within the target and create the best motorcycle possible. But you can't help but think, what if? What if we could set our own targets? What if there was no limitation on suspension travel? What could we build? And that's how the 790 Adventure R Rally was born. So suspension is an area where you can make the biggest improvements on a motorcycle. But with the 790 Adventure R, it was very difficult to improve upon the standard suspension. So we really had to think and go further and go with the high-end WP Pro components. So on the 790 Adventure R Rally, you're getting a set of suspension that is very similar to what the factory KTM Rally team is racing on. And something like this has never been done on a production motorcycle. So it's really cool to see something like this come to light, and I really can't wait to get my hands on this motorcycle. And it truly is incredible what you can throw at this bike, and we've thrown everything at it. There really is no limitation to what you can do on this motorcycle.
Thank you, Quinn. Yeah, so basically Quinn said it all. Product management wants a bike that is realistic, that real human beings can sit on, reach the ground, that is affordable, that can actually be purchased. But there's always the people that want the little bit extra, the people that say, I don't care how high the seat on my bike is, I don't care how much it costs, I don't care how hard it is to get one, I want that bike. And when I heard about the test results that came back from the Pro Component suspension that WP was working with, I started to think, okay, maybe we can make a bike around the suspension. Problem is we only built this in extremely limited quantities because it's supposed to be for if you want to upgrade your bike to the next level. So it took a little bit of creativity in the factory to be able to create an actual product out of this. This bike will be built in 500 units, and that's it. I'll just run you through a little bit about what's on the bike that's different from the 790 Adventure R. The big differences are in the suspension. We've got a Pro Components front fork and a Pro Components rear shock. It's a cone valve fork, and it's a very advanced, highly adjustable rear shock. The plastics here are transparent to make the bike feel even lighter. As you can see, we've worked quite hard on the graphics to make the bike really give that rally feeling, the connection to the bikes that Laia, for example, races, the factory bikes. But I think the best person to talk about suspension is obviously Quinn, but we couldn't have him. But we managed to get someone else on this bike for, unfortunately, I think he's going to say too short. Chris has ridden the bike yesterday and the day before. Chris, what can you tell us? What makes it better than the R?
So to start off with, I was probably thinking what a lot of you guys are thinking now, like, come on, it can't be that much better than the R. And one of the downsides with getting to ride these bikes is you have nice people like Adriaan staring daggers at you the entire time, making sure you don't scratch it, don't crash it. There's only one of them. It's quite a high pressure situation. So jumped on the bike, started, I'm sure it's a bit better, but we'll see. First, second gear, and I rode straight into the biggest rock I could find. And the bike went dead straight. And at that moment, I'm like, okay, now I get it. And it's a good reminder, all my time as an amateur racer, no money, eating baked beans for dinner. We'd spend our last cent on suspension. Quinn said it, if you want to go fast, if you want the best value for money, you spend all your money on suspension. And I think that's what KTM have done here. And the payoff is huge. It takes a while to get your head around it. But it's not just suspension, even little things like, it looks really cool to have all this clear, like the rally bikes. But when you get on the bike, because it's clear, the whole bike feels smaller. It feels like more like that rally feel, that ready to race feel. And the seat makes a huge difference. You can slide right to the front of the bike, rail it through a corner like an EXC. And yeah, the suspension's awesome, but it's the combination of all the different parts all come together on one bike. This is not a power parts bike that we flashed up. It's a hell of a thing.
So what about the R? Should people forget about the R now?
Thanks for putting me on the spot. I think it's...
Doesn't average out, do you need this?
My response to that is always, as a culture, we stopped worrying about what we need a long time ago. Do we need a 790R? Do we need do we need a 300 TPI? It's not about need. These things are cool. They're really fun. I really believe that any rider will be able. We talked about this before with some of the customers. You'll be able to jump on this bike, any rider, and straight away feel a difference. Whether or not you personally need that difference is entirely up to you. But you'll be able to feel it, and you'll be able to appreciate it. And the decision is up to the individual from there. For me, hell yes, please.